Good afternoon, people. I have decided to go ahead and make a dichroic heart. The way I do it is fairly simple, and the tools that I use are fairly simple. One of them is a butter knife, and the other one is, of course, the dichroic from glass, and a good base color, which I probably am going to use. Okay, let's go to this. I'll go use some green exotic. There we go. Green exotic dichroic heart. First of all, dichroic, I always put the film side up. You can tell which side the film is on the side because, again, the reflection goes all the way to the edge of the glass. Now, I'm going to get ready. Almost the right size. This is fairly simple to use, easy to do, and we can get a lot of coverage out of these things. Dichro has some really interesting properties, but to make it sparkling glitter, one of the hard parts is putting it into the glass without it burning. And the way I have gotten around that is that I simply put the film side up on a pad or whatever, heat the piece of glass to where it's about the right same size as the glass dichro film, heat it until it's nice and orange glow, and then I press it into the glass. And now you already have a buffer against the flame by just heating up the backside. Okay, now I'm going to take some green exotic and just covering only the area on the back of the dichroic film that I just put, or dichroic glass piece that I put down there. And the reason I only put it right to the edge of that area is so that when you roll it or when you spin it or when you flatten or go to the edges of this, it's only to the color will go to the edges of the dichro. A little simple, but it works. Again, I use basic tools. I don't even, I'm just starting to learn how to use this L marver on the back of my torch. Uh, Drop a name here. Gary Cottontail gave it to me. I am thankful for his donation to my artwork. I'm still learning how to use it though. It's like you know, I'm learning. But anyway, I cut it off at the top, and now I'm just going to touch it here so I can work with this glass. Now you just let it round into itself. Come a nice little ball. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take it off from there and put it onto the back where the green is. Oops. Accidents happen, but it's still okay. Now I'll round in this piece of glass. All the little bumpy bits from where it's hot and, or not hot, but still needs to become one nice round piece of glass. Easing it in. Rolling it over some more. Just to the edges of the dichro. There we go. Seems like I got a nice little air bubble in there. Secret to air bubbles. Make them as stressless as possible. by making sure the air bubble is as round as possible, and turning into a round ball if possible. And there we go. Now, this time I'll put it to the side, like I did before. Top it off. Cold welds are an important thing to learn, but yes, sometimes they work for you and sometimes they work against you, but it's good to play with it and learn how to make a nice cold weld. And the reason it's called a cold weld is because one rod is a lot hotter than the other, and you just touch them together, and they can break off at that spot later on if you wanted them to. Compared to a nice fusion or fusion of the glass where you make two pieces of glass into one. And with 90% of your work, that's the way you want it to be. You don't want it to fall apart at one place or another later. Okay. Now after looking at my piece of dichroic, I see where I'm going to put the top and where I'm going to put the bottom. Again, this punty that I have it on right now is a cold weld. And all I have to do is do another cold weld in another spot and tap it off at that one. Practice, practice. And oh, by the way, you saw it. It fell onto the table. It's not like I am perfect either. Now, I'm going to take this really high-tech device, dun, 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 a nice knife, and to make the heart, you just press it in and roll it to one side and roll it to the other. And it helps to have a nice graphite pad too. Now all you do is press them down. And you'll start to see the shape take effect. Okay. I'm still learning how to teach. If you have any suggestions or any comments, I'm listening. I'm very open to a lot of things. Although I have been doing this for a very long time, since 1982, and I'll keep repeating that. You can do the math. You don't know how many times, people say, "How long you been doing this?" And I'd say, when I first started, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. I said, screw it. I'll just tell them the age. Let them do the math. And that way I can keep my story straight, not have to keep adding a year every year. Okay. Dichroic heart's turning out really nice. Now it's time to put, I guess, what they call a loop or a bail on there. And since I used the green exotic for the actual back side of this thing, green exotic bail would be pretty nice. Now the way you do that is, again, you touch it to and fuse them. Do not just stick it to it where it can break off at that spot later. You want them to become one piece of glass, not two pieces of glass stuck together. It's only after time, patience, and learning your medium. Glass has a set of rules that it follows. Just like you pour water into a table and it's got a rule that it follows gravity all the way down to the floor, and it's going to pour and flow. The same thing happens to glass. You heat it up, it's going to stay within its parameters of working. And as long as you work within those parameters and don't fight the glass, and work with the glass, you'll have some very unique pieces of glass to show for your art. Now, here we go. The last part of this heart is to make a nice point at the bottom of the heart. This heart will be for sale until somebody buys it, because that's what keeps you going with the glass work, is selling your artwork to other people who love your artwork so that you can make more. And in my case, so that I can teach more. I had dreamed this a long time ago, when the internet first started, to be able to sit down at my torch and design out a piece, melt it while the customer is watching, say 150 miles away, and saying, "Ooh, I'll buy that." Again, excuse me, I've had a cold. Sorry. Now, one, dichroic heart pendant. Again, cold welds are important. And let me see if I can get closer. It's not a perfect heart shape, and that's what you're after. You're after a piece of glass that gives you the impression of a heart, but it doesn't have to be exactly like a heart. Yes, you can get complete, perfect symmetry and stuff like that, but to me, the part of it being artistic is the human quality and form of it being imperfect. Well, that's my demo on a dichroic heart. Any questions or comments? I'll be glad to listen to them. Have a good day.